How do I figure out what's next in my career? How do I align my work with what truly matters to me? And the biggest question of all, can I really design a career that I love? Hey, my name is Jen Smith, and I believe career success doesn't have to come at the expense of living a radiantly happy and healthy lifestyle. As a former HR leader and recruiter turned career coach, I've seen how traditional paths can leave people burned out or boxed in. And I know there's a better way, one that invites you to let go of outdated rules and outside expectations, one that evolves and supports meaningful growth over time. Whether you're feeling stuck, craving more clarity, or ready to expand within your current role and beyond, this show is for you. So grab your coffee or your kombucha, pull up a seat, and get ready to explore practical, modern strategies for building a meaningful, heart-based career. Because you deserve a long, radiantly happy, and healthy career. This is the Flourish Careers Podcast. Hello, and welcome back to the Flourish Careers Podcast. I'm Jen Smith, your host, and I'm thrilled to be here with you for season 10. This season is all about flourishing together. We have a full lineup of heartfelt, insightful conversations with incredible guests. Each episode is a curated conversation designed to inspire, uplift, and offer practical wisdom to help you flourish in your career and beyond. Today, I'm especially excited to introduce you to Corbin Chase. Corbin is an intuitive counselor and holistic health practitioner. She helps families, individuals, and animals reconnect with themselves emotionally, physically, spiritually, and relationally through a blend of intuitive insight, energy medicine, and practical lifestyle strategies. Drawing on her own journey through illness, motherhood, and rebuilding life from the ground up, Corbin brings both depth and relatability to her work. Her mission is to make true health accessible, guiding clients to find alignment, trust their intuition, and create a sense of peace that extends from personal healing to community transformation. Corbin, welcome to the show.
Thanks so much, Jen. So happy to be here.
Yes, and we are going to dive into all things intuition. And I couldn't think of a better person to talk about this with. And so why don't we start with a little bit about your background? So you have a really interesting career story. You've made a significant shift from corporate tech to intuitive holistic counseling. And so can you kind of just take us back to maybe the moment in corporate tech where you knew that it wasn't where you were meant to be and just kind of what unfolded from there?
Yes. I feel like the real turning point for me in corporate America was when I realized I was managing systems and not souls, including my own. I had reached a point where I had lost myself so deeply that my life just wasn't working. It was working. Like on the outside, it looked like it was going well. I was following all of the rules, but inside, I had no idea who I was. And I think that my job choice was a result of my performance ever since, a child versus being authentic. So, a bunch of things happened once I started raising my consciousness and opening my field to what else might exist in the world and within me. And that's when I really started to acknowledge I had spiritual gifts and my purpose needed to be reflected in my business and the way I wanted to live. And so I started educating myself in holistic modalities and developing my natural intuitive gifts and open to practice. And I've been doing it ever since.
So a lot of folks listening go through changes, right? Career changes. And so can you tell us a little bit more how that unfolded? So you're in the day-to-day, it's just are you feeling sick? What happened in the day-to-day of this other world that kind of caused that shift from systems to souls, which I love?
Yeah. I mean, I just was caught in this performance loop because that's how I was raised. I was raised not as being seen for my individual authentic soul, but we have to show up well. And corporate America has the same that mom and dad view from top down, the whole concept of having a boss where it's performance-based versus a teacher that helps you develop your individual authentic gifts that only you have to offer the world is a structure and a system that is really human and not holistic. It doesn't integrate the unique aspects of us spiritually. And that's an important part of being healthy. So I would go home and just like criticize myself and think about all of the things that I did that I could have done better. How can I show up better? How can I design myself to perform better? And then I reached a point where I was trying to pick out a piece of jewelry for myself, and I couldn't do it. I was like, I don't know what I like. What do you want me to like? You tell me and I'll make myself like it. And that's when I realized that was like a big aha moment of like, wow, I loved jewelry as a child, but I've completely lost that discernment within myself. And from there, I was like, no, I'm going to keep looking at jewelry for days until I figure out how to know what it is that I like. And so it started small. And I had kept having little moments like that in the one-on-ones I was having at work in this big tech company, having moments of authenticity and like spiritual connection within like the first 5 minutes of like a catch up of a one-on-one about something where someone would share something that was real. And that started to feed the life, like the truth within me.
Wow. Yes. Oh my goodness. There's so much in this. And the one thing I jotted down when you were talking is the boss versus the teacher. And I think our world of education and corporate America is so wired for the boss versus the teacher, even though teachers think they're teaching, they're really just teaching to like a standardized test, not really teaching. So there's so much there. I mean, that's probably another podcast for another time. And then when you said, I don't even know what I like when you're picking out jewelry, I work with so many folks that really don't even know what brings them joy anymore because they're so caught up in that. And I've been there myself too. And so I'm so glad that you shared that moment around the jewelry because it's really relatable. Like, how can I not even just pick this out? You know, and then thinking back to when you were a kid and how much you loved it. And I think that's where a lot of that starts with us, right? Our authenticity starts as kids, and then we get programmed or reprogrammed or whatever you want to call it to the systems, these external systems. And then we have to like find our way back to ourselves eventually. And that's like through the intuition and what you were noticing with these real conversations. So yeah.
No, you're right. There's a lot to unpack on what I said. And to break it down even more, it's within that, that's when I started realizing like, oh, that's what people are talking about when they mean inner child work. I was like, oh, I am actually connected to her. And I actually do think about that without like, it wasn't like a therapy came first. It was more of like, I heard about it and then it just came up and I was like, oh, that's what they mean. And then who is it? Marie Kondo with the spark of joy.
Yes.
I was like, well, maybe I'll just like try that and see if it works. And it did work. I was like, oh, wow, I do have a spark of joy about some things. So it was kind of like picking and choosing different methods and seeing if they worked or not. And it all just started forming.
Yes. Does this spark joy? I do that with my clothes when I'm cleaning out my closet. Like, does this spark joy or no? Get rid of it. That's so good. That's so good. And then the other thing that came up when you were talking was this like head heart kind of push pull. So, you know, like my whole thing around heart-based career planning is like getting you in alignment with, you know, your energy, your impact, your values. And so I can hear kind of that head heart, like, oh, I'm criticizing myself because I should show up this way, but it's not really where my heart is. And so I don't know, can you talk a little bit more about that too? Did you experience that?
I did. And I think this is where like a good segue to intuition might come in, is because when you're thinking from your head, it's strategy, it's protection. It's like the mind is it's like the piece that we need in order to exist in this reality, you know, but our heart and like our spirit and our soul, all that's connected is like the eternal piece of us. It has access to infinite wisdom, you know, which is different from like the mechanics of the brain. So that showed up in the kinds of bosses I like to work for. Are you being a boss to me from your head or from your heart? And then you expand that to a company level. Like, is this company heart-led or are they like all stuck in their head? Because I don't want to work for someone stuck in the head. It's not as real. And that definitely showed up within myself as well.
Yes, I'm so glad you mentioned that. And it's something to notice when folks are thinking about making a change. It's something to notice about an organization because there are heart-centered leaders out there and there are heart-led organizations out there. It's just about finding that, but you noticing that and then recognizing it and making a change. So yes, good segue to intuition. So intuition is something I try to talk about, but it's really hard because you can't see it. So Can you tell us about a time where your intuition was so strong, like you couldn't ignore it? So like, how did it show up? And maybe a little bit about what happened when you trusted it.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Every day, all day. That's how I
Yes,
live
love
now.
it.
Like my intuition just leads everything. I think so. Okay. A story about intuition. One of the most potent times was when my intuition, my heart space, because the heart has is the highest resonance in your body, so it speaks truth, is when I was clear about wanting to divorce my husband, which I know is pretty heavy, but I was clear about it, and my head was the one that was like, what are you doing? We don't want this. This is going to blow up my life. This is going to make things so complicated. How are we going to do this, that, and the other? But my intuition, my heart was saying, no, like this is the truth. You can take it or you can leave it. You can ignore me, or you can trust that the highest wisdom for me and all of me is speaking clearly. And so that's one of the big ways it comes forward, but it also can be something as small as like, should I go to bed right now or should I give it another 10 minutes?
Yes, yes. And thank you for sharing two kind of different views of it. It's like I live it every day, but then it's also there for these big life decisions like divorce or making a career change or jumping from, one city to the next city or whatever it is that you're going through. So how does it show up for you? So I've heard people, talk about the whisper and like the back of their head. Like tell me like nudges. How does it show up for you?
So for me, I also have, everyone has spiritual gifts. My gifts are metaphysical in nature. So, my strongest gift is to feel, clair feel. I also clair know. So for me, I feel and know. I'm like, okay, I feel and know. I formed a relationship with this communication channel so I can recognize it now, because it was a struggle at the beginning to be like, is this my mind? Is this my fear? Is this my logic? Is this my ego? Is this even me? Am I authentic enough yet? Like there was just like a lot of mumble jumble when I was breaking down the structure of like the performing version of me to Corbin, like authentic Corbin. And that's a hard journey to go through. But that's why dropping into the heart space was such an effective tool, because my heart, it doesn't matter how performative you are, when you're loving.
Yes.
You know when you love, when you see someone you love, it opens. Everyone feels that opening. And so I would rely on my heart.
And I just picture, I do some meditation sometimes. I'll just like literally put your hand on your heart and like do a meditation or think about what the decision is, and the answer will come to you. And so, and everybody's different. And you were explaining how you feel and know and how you built that relationship with the feeling and knowing. It takes time. It's a practice. It's not just something that you have or don't have, or like a light switch that goes on. It literally takes time. And I feel like, I don't know about for you, but it's like once you kind of like listen to it or feel it or know it or whatever it is, and you make a decision from it, and then you see the feedback from that decision, it's like every little tiny decision, it keeps building that knowing, that feeling, that voice or whatever. Is that right?
Yeah. So that voice is coming from like the wisest possible source.
Yes.
Like wisdom and love that a love that most of us don't give ourselves, but there is like a source out there who loves us so much and has like infinite wisdom of all of time. And so it's like, well, duh, let's try to tune into that. Like that sounds really helpful. And what it does is it kind of course corrects you. You come down here in this life to do all of these things, and we make decisions based off of a wide range of different things that we've experienced in our life. Now, our main intention, our purpose for coming down here, we might have strayed a little bit from that, or we're doing a version of it that maybe isn't like the highest version of it. So what that voice does is it helps us in very creative ways to bring us closer and closer back to that home base, so you can feel more aligned with like the truest and highest intention for your existence. And that can look messy. It doesn't
Yes.
always mean you're going to walk into a room full of money. It can mean, I need to break this down. Okay, that's going to be hard.
Oh my God, you are so funny. Walking into a room full of money. Yes, all of us. Let's just all manifest that in our lives. But it's true. It is true. It is messy. It is hard. And it's like these tiny little decisions and then recognizing the feedback from those decisions. And I think sometimes I'll just give a couple of examples that I've heard some people journaling. A lot of stuff comes through journaling. I've heard people talk about being out on a walk and they get answers and things come through walks, which I've had interesting experiences with that myself.
Mm-hmm.
I love signs and synchronicities, and I call them divine winks. And when I ask for one and then I see it and then you're on the right path. So there's so many fun ways to play with intuition and getting these answers.
Yeah, it's all around us. We need to remember that we are not, the mother of our body is Mother Earth. We are part of nature. Astrology, the weather, the seasons, the food that we grow and have immediate access to. Love is medicine. That is the way to be healthy and whole. And we are constantly supported by our own body who wants us to thrive. So when something is wrong with your physical body, your body's saying, hello, I'm trying to tell you what's going on here. Listen to the deeper meaning. It's all right there. We are in a completely supportive landscape. It's the distractions, it's the temptations that remove us from that truth and that ability to be well in that natural way.
Yes, you hit on a huge point around that somatic wisdom, when the body is reacting to something or responding to something in a way that doesn't feel good, that's a sign something's out of alignment and we need to figure out what is. And so, thank you for mentioning that. And then you just mentioned the distractions. And I really wanted to ask this question. I'm struggling with this myself right now. There are so many influences, everywhere we look something is influencing how we behave and how we act and show up. And so do you have any ideas around practices or anything that can help us recognize when a choice is aligned with our authentic self versus all of the stuff around us?
Yes. Okay. I look at everything in terms of being light and dark. We have that's the spiritual kind of war that's happening, which is the high frequencies versus the low frequencies. And the low frequencies are really creative, very creative. The high frequencies always have to do with love, natural, purpose, being of service. And the low frequencies we see in lots of ways, like in music. Music, even the people that come across so innocently, I was listening to a song called Midnight Bottle by Colby Calais that I really liked before my awakening. And now I listened to it the other day and I was like, she's talking about leaning on alcohol to solve her problems. But the song is bubbly and cute and she looks so pretty, but that's a disguised temptation. That is a low frequency song. It's everywhere. It's everywhere across TV shows. So before you start binging your life, which is where I'm at, you need to start first practice seeing it and practicing your own sovereignty and discernment in that way of saying, okay, is this light or dark? Why might it not be? Makeup, anything that tries to get you to change your physical presence as anything other than natural is trying to pull you away from the light and alignment.
Yes. Hey there, beloved listener. It's Jen here, and I'm popping in with a quick invitation just for you. I know how hard it can be to navigate your career, especially in a world of work that's constantly changing. That's why I created The Gathering Ground. It's an insider circle for steady, heart-based support to help you grow with clarity, confidence, and community. Inside the Gathering Ground membership, you're invited to join us for weekly office hours to ask questions and stay grounded, exclusive pricing on one-on-one coaching, seasonal goal setting and reflection workshops. You'll receive a secret monthly newsletter with fresh tools and inspiration. There's a growing library of networking scripts, checklists, and career development tools designed to support you throughout your career. And best of all, a kind, generous community of professionals who just get it. So whether you're staying, shifting, or starting fresh, this is your space to be supported and stretched in the best way possible. It's just $97 to join, then $27 a month. Flexible, affordable, and no long-term commitment. To get started, head on over to flourish.careers/community and answer a few quick questions. Based on your responses, I'll send you a personalized development plan so you can begin right away with clear human support. No bots, no templates, just thoughtful guidance to move forward with confidence, because you deserve a long, radiantly happy and healthy career. I cannot wait to see you on the inside. Now, back to the episode. It's so interesting. And I like the way that you explain it between light and dark. And I don't know, sometimes I feel like I feel something, like if I see something and I'm just like, ugh, like it just does not like resonate.
Intuition.
Right. There you go. Thank you. And so that could be something else too. Like, okay, maybe that's like the lower frequency and it's not resonating. And so we're going to just like pass that by and not invite it into our lives. And I just think it's so hard. And I'm glad that you used music as an example, because a lot of times people are like, oh, music, it helps us with whatever. It helps us feel better. Like, all these different feelings and emotions with music. But it's interesting to hear that there's a high and a low frequency with music too. So I never thought about that.
Yeah, I think that has to do with like conscious leadership within yourself.
Yeah.
Of like not just mindlessly consuming of all things. When you're listening to music, open the picture to be wider of what you're consuming. Actually listen to what the song is saying and decide, is this feel healthy? Are they saying something that I would want to teach and preach to my children?
Yeah, that's a good way to put it too, and think of others. And the word presence came to mind too, is just like being really present, because we can get so stuck on autopilot or in like the doom scrolling I'm thinking of. And it's just like so easy to take all that in. And I think like, you're talking about taking things in. I think about like everything from the food we eat to the information that we're consuming is having an effect, our being, whether that's a high frequency effect, a low frequency effect, something in between, whatever it is. Like it really does. Like the information I think we take in could be even worse than the food, all the food and garbage that's out there, right? I don't know. So
no, it absolutely is. We see the same thing when it comes to like clothes and textiles and fabrics.
Oh yeah.
So I've recently switched all of the linens for me and my two kids to 100% organic linen, because that is one of the highest, it resonates at like 5,000 hertz. Now, when we wear or sleep in clothes that are toxic, like that have plastic in it. I wrote a whole article about this because it's so important. And this is mentioned in like ancient scriptures that they already knew this without having the scientific tools to prove it, which we now can. Your body rests at 100 hertz, period. That's your like most basic state of health. When you wear clothes that resonate at 0, you're already having to like, your whole system is having to fight to be at just its baseline. Oof. But when you wear cashmere, linen, 100% organic cotton, it's like you're putting on like a superpower in a way. So everything matters. It all matters.
Yes, I love the idea around clothing. And I talk with folks a lot around clothing. Actually, just came up in another podcast where someone said, I had to wear suits every day to work and it just wasn't me. And so I had to leave. Like, that's your intuition, like rejecting that environment.
Yes.
Yeah, it's same thing.
Absolutely.
Yes. Wow. That is really, really interesting. I'm going to have to go check all my linens now because I mean, it's really cool though to think about like, hey, you can change what you wear and how you feel and how you're showing up and even what frequency you're operating at by what you put on your body, what you consume in terms of information, food, all the things. So yes, yes, and yes. Question came up while you were talking about that. And this kind of goes back to the beginning around the intuition and just kind of like how you're feeling about like one particular job. And then as you moved into your own practice, did your intuition always feel strong for you? So did you like notice it, but just like ignore it? Or did it come up like more and more as you leaned into your more authentic self? I guess is what I'm trying to say. I don't know.
That's a good question. It moves as like a package deal. Okay. When you start becoming more authentic, when you start like, I didn't call it this at the time, but when I was essentially praying, I was just communicating to like a higher source. First, it was my higher self. Then I incorporated my spirit guides. Then I was like universe. And now I'm creator. And now I'm contemplating, well, is God that? Right? But the more you interact wholesomely with your authentic self, wanting to be of service, listening, trying to listen to those like gut feelings, those heart-centered feelings, the opening and closing of your energy, everything starts to form around you and you're supported. You're supported. And so the more that you participate, the more that you receive. If you have like the blinds closed everywhere on like your authentic self, your purpose of service, your whatever it is that you believe that's higher, you're just I don't know, you're just a human.
Yeah.
Truly.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that the more you participate, the more you receive. That really resonates. And so it's easy to get caught up in the chaos of everything around you and all the to-dos and all of the things in life. But it's almost like being present again and that being really intentional and pausing. I think that's like slowing down and pausing is a big piece of this, just to like make a different choice, whether, make a more aligned choice, whatever it is that you're doing. I've been trying to do it more with food. So I'm like a big, like, okay, we're going to have this, and this, like kind of like lined out for the week or whatever. But now I've been like, oh, well, maybe I don't really want that for breakfast. Let's see what so I've been doing that more with like food and just like pausing instead of being on that autopilot. Hey, what do you really want today? And like kind of leaning into it that way. It's kind of fun.
I love that. And I really dislike meal prepping for that. I also used to meal prep. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm going to want in that moment. Like, I got to be in flow. Also, like, we're women. We are very hormonal. Like, our bodies need things all the time and it changes. One fun way that I incorporated sharpening my intuition is intuitive grilling. So I would go put something on the grill. I'm not going to set a timer. I would put a timer in my head being like, tell me when to go check it. And it works all the time. I'm just like, oh, I think I should go check that. And I'm like, wow, it's the perfect time to flip it.
Oh my gosh. That is so fun. And just like giving yourselves a little test here and there. I think that is super fun. Oh my gosh, I'm definitely going to try that. I'll have Jeremy try that too. He likes to grill, but we have a thermometer. Like he's got to measure the exact temperature of when it's ready, but we're going to try the intuitive grilling. That's super fun.
Yeah.
I love it. Yeah, so fun. Now, you have a gift where you can help others. Tell us a little bit about that. Like, when did you first recognize you were able to help others through your gifts? And like, how did you start to share it with others?
So at first, I thought I was just like sensitive. I just thought I was like a very sensitive girl. I just thought I was. But over time, I started sensing physical and emotional details about people that I couldn't have known logically. And then they would confirm them. And I was like, oh my gosh, am I a witch? Like I wasn't educated about the spiritual community, And so like saying that is actually a very rude thing to say to someone now, because witches are real and amazing. But I sought out some spiritual counseling and they were like, oh my gosh, well, you're psychic. And I'm like, and I was concerned at first, like, oh my gosh, like is something wrong with me? But no, it's not. It's just the gifts I was given in this life for me by like God creator. And then I learned that they're like muscles and I can strengthen them. And then it's like, okay, I feel like I've got like a pretty good foundation under me of how to use them and then how to use them ethically. And I started practicing. And then that needed to merge. And this was all happening while I was in corporate America. Then that needed to merge with my career. How do I make my gifts and my purpose also my business? Because that's alignment, right?
Yes.
That's what I uniquely have to offer. And that's how I can uniquely be of service, which then support my wholesome health and happiness and peace.
Yes.
So once that all kind of like, I got to marinate in that for a while, like a couple years. And then I was like, it's time. I have to do this. And so now, I do it full time.
Yes. And so tell us a little bit about the process. So in full disclosure, listeners, I've done a few sessions with Corbin and they are so much fun. And she definitely has a very special gift. And so I'd love for you maybe to share just a little bit about like if someone wanted to work with you and your gifts, like how does that work for you? Like how do you tap in?
Yeah. You mean like how to book a session or how a session would go?
How a session would go.
So it's all energy based. I read the energy around you, practical situations in your life. My gifts work most strongly in the container of health. So it's not the kind of psychic hotline you'd call in and be like, oh, am I going to like date this guy? I'd be like, well, is this guy going to be good for your health? And is this guy in alignment for you and your like highest life is what the conversation would be like, and why you might be calling in or attracting a guy who might not be vibrationally at your level, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's conversational, and it has to do, with your health, happiness, and peace.
Yes. And I just cracked up when you said the psychic hotline because I don't know like what vision I got from that, but that is not what this is at all. It is really a conversation. And I don't know, I usually show up with like an intention or, something that's going on. And then we kind of like talk about it and you get intuitive hits and then share them. And it's really eye-opening and enlightening. And I'm actually taking a little weekend getaway based on one of our conversations that Corbin and I had. So definitely recommend. And then to your second question there, how do people book with you? If someone's like, I need to do this.
Yeah, well, I'm very active on Instagram at Whole with Corbin. Even if you just want to say hey or join the community, that's great. You can book sessions online at corbinchase.health.
Perfect. And we'll make sure that we add all those to the show notes. And I don't want to end this conversation just yet. Usually I end with asking those types of questions, but I have a couple more questions for you before we wrap here. Now, I want to go back to this, just trying to help folks understand like the practical ways to make decisions from your heart or from your intuition. And we talked a little bit about that before, but do you have any like practical ideas that you could help somebody if they're thinking about, making a leap in a career or they're contemplating a change? Like, what can they practically do to follow their heart?
Yeah, I think if you're going to make a leap from your job, there are a couple things you need to get in order.
Yeah.
I would, when I'm coaching people through this, we want to make sure that one, they have established some kind of relationship with a higher energy. So that way you know how to co-create. You have a tool for asking clearly for what you need, and you've practiced seeing how you receive what you ask for. That builds a really strong spiritual foundation, but also trust that if this is an alignment for you, you will be supported. And it might not look like, the stereotypical path, but it comes through in creative ways and you can trust it. Understanding your purpose, your gifts, and how you're asked to be of service in this life. And having understanding like the spiritual landscape, things like astrology, seasons, like just are you placed in the landscape of the spiritual world that we live in a knowledgeable way? Because these are going to be critical tools as you step into holism and out of like the train that is the American way.
Yeah.
So I think all those pieces are really, really important first.
Yeah, definitely. I'm glad that you shared that. So just to kind of recap, it's the co-creation with a higher energy, whatever that is for you. And the piece around trust is so big. So like trusting that whatever's calling you that is how you are supported. So following that trust and knowing that the universe is working with you, not against you. And those like that trust muscle takes time to build, but you will be supported. Asking how you want to be or how you should be of service in this lifetime, I think is amazing. Like what a cool way just to journal and see what comes up around like your gifts and how you want to support others. And that's actually interesting because a lot of times I talk to people that are seeking career clarity and they say, I want to help people, which is fabulous. Everybody innately wants to help people, but then how? And how are you uniquely created in order to support others? So
exactly. And there's an answer for everyone.
Yes.
That's how like we're designed to be here.
Yes.
So the placement is waiting for you.
Yes. Ooh, I love thinking about that. Like, everything's lining up. It's waiting for you. You just have to tune in and make the decisions. So good. Okay. So as we kind of wrap up, my last question for you is looking back, can you share a story of how choosing your authentic self in your decisions created a ripple effect? Because I'm a firm believer of one person being in alignment creates a ripple effect around them. So maybe your work, your relationships, your overall well-being, like tell us about that ripple effect.
Oh, totally. Well, that's law of attraction right there.
Yay!
You operate out of love in your highest self. You're going to attract the same frequency, which is like, what a better frequency to attract in your orbit.
Yes.
Gosh, so many things. My dream house, I have my dream home. I live in a place that I picked for myself. I have since built a small homestead, what we call spiritual farms. I have attracted what I believe is the most aligned partner for me at this phase in my life. After going through a divorce, I have had weeks where that I've been able to fall in love with myself.
Oh.
And it drifts and it comes back, and I'm working on how to stay in a place because I didn't even know I could be in love with myself. But that is one of the things. And oh my gosh, when you are, it's like bliss. It's like bliss and peace and I that's been a huge gift that's come from being in alignment and listening from my heart space and being my authentic self. It just attracts the equal amount of unique incredibleness that you are on the inside from the outside as well. So your whole life starts to mirror what you have going on.
Oh, chills all over the place. Oh my goodness. And then speaking of the ripple effect, I think of your littles and how lucky they are to have you as their mom and to experience and witness that at such a young age too. And oh my gosh, what a gift you are for them and all of us, Corbin. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jen. Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was so lovely. As we come to a close, there's a question I ask everybody, and that is your flourishing favorite. So a book or a podcast or some type of resource other than your intuition that you would recommend to folks if they're ready to really kind of tap into their intuition and learn more.
I usually recommend people who are starting out in like the spiritual space, because this is the first book I read that really like blew open my consciousness in every direction, was Many Lives, Many Masters by Brian Weiss. And I know it's a popular book, but I'm going to recommend it also because it's where science and a doctor meet the metaphysical world in a really grounded way. And by the end of that book, it's really hard not to believe in more. And that is the first concept to swallow and add to your field will allow you to open more and more from there.
Yes, such a good recommendation. It has not been recommended yet, so we are adding that to the library. I love when things can bring together the science and the spirituality in a way that people can digest. It just... It just opens so many more doors, because intuition, it's like we were talking, it's like this invisible thing and it's so hard to explain. But when there are smart people that bring the science into it, I think that makes it easier for people to digest, and it's so helpful. So this is a fabulous recommendation. Thank you so much. Oh my goodness. I feel like I could talk about intuition and energy with you all day. This is one of my favorite topics, and I'm just so grateful for you and your gifts and sharing them with me and the listeners in the world. And you just like radiate love. So thank you so much, Corbin. It's been such a joy.
Thank you so much, Jen. I really appreciate this time.
Yes. And you mentioned earlier how people can book. So your website is Corbin Chase Health?
CorbinChase.health.
CorbinChase.health. And then Instagram?
Whole with Corbin.
Whole with Corbin. Okay. We will add those to the show notes, my friends. I'm sure you're going to need some more Corbin in your life. That's where you can go. And as always, the notes from today's episode will be on the blog at flourish.careers/blog. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we'll talk to you next time.